Welcome back to Punch Drunk Nerd, the podcast where three friends, three amigos, three bambinos are back at it again, talking about nerd shit. It's me, Luis Gonzalez, and of course,
Miguel Sanchez.
And
and Ed Bull.
There you go. We are here to talk about some nerd shit. Now, last week we didn't have a feature discussion, but this week we do have a feature discussion. It's a big one. We're going to talk about Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. We have a huge discussion about that, talking about the end of an era of Phase 4 here. But then we also going to talk about news. We have to talk about news that are coming out. We have to talk about trailers. And then at the end of the podcast, we're going to talk about what we're into. Movies, TV shows, comic books, video games, food, music, etc., etc., etc. But before that, let's jump into some news real quick, okay? What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, that was great.
All right, well, hit me up.
Actually.
I didn't put any news today, so why don't you tell me what the news is? What's happening in the news today, boys?
Well, you guys know about that Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, and a couple of years ago, they said that Margot Robbie was going to come out with a Pirates of the Caribbean movie. Apparently, that's not going to happen anymore. Miguel, hold your tears. Apparently, according to Margot Robbie, we had an idea, and we were developing it for a while, ages ago, to have more of a female-led, not totally female-led, but just a different kind of story, which we thought would have been really cool, but I guess they don't want to do it. They being Disney.
The patriarchy.
The patriarchy. Yes. The pirates. No, we don't want to do that, boss.
No.
No, thank you. So, yeah, I can't remember when they first announced that project.
I forgot about that.
Obviously,
honestly.
Pirates of the Caribbean. Well, I mean, fucking Disney is starting projects and canceling projects left and right. They think if they get it going, they see what the feel is, and then just like, fuck it.
Cut it.
Don't worry about it. we're not going to do it. It's so I don't know, and I mean, Pirates hasn't been good technically since the third movie, so you're really wondering like, okay, well maybe if they had brought something new to the table, that could have been interesting. I only hope that they're not trying to,
you know it,
because I mean Miguel already said,
you know it,
bring J-Det back and I guess rekindle that franchise. The guys from Chernobyl, actually, they were the ones who were more recently attached to do another Pirates of the Caribbean.
Really?
Whoa.
Yeah. So I don't know.
That'll be dark.
Where that is. Anyway, it's production, whatever. But curious words from Margot Robbie.
I just remember that during the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, at one point it came up that he was like, "There's no amount of money that would ever make me work with Disney again." And then after the trial, when he won, he was like, "But I don't know." You know what I mean? And then, of course, like with Margot Robbie saying like, "Oh, my film got scrapped." The first thing I thought was, okay, Disney was like, "Johnny Depp, you're hot again. Yeah, let's get you back."
I'm
not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying
I don't think it's going to happen. Like, let sleeping dogs lie or whatever.
Are you kidding me? Like, I feel like with DC's leaning hard on IPs. Everyone at this point, I feel like that's like the global strategy right now. Everybody lean hard on IPs. They make money. The nerds love talking about it. We're going to talk about it. You know what I mean? It's just like the easiest. It's like the easiest cash grab for people to get. So there's no way this is going to die out. I mean, we're going to keep talking about franchises later in this podcast, but it's just like this is
spoilers.
This is the era of IPs for sure. Like, we've been living in it, but now they're like putting the pedal to the metal.
I don't have it here in the notes, but I saw because Luis, you were at one point, you were like, "Oh, try not to put too much in the episode today," and I was like, "Oh, I gotta stop sending them news stuff then." But I did read Quentin Tarantino today was just like, "We are living in the worst age for cinema right now."
Yes, I did see that,
and it was just like, great, and he's not wrong.
Another curmudgeon.
I know he's not wrong, not right, not wrong, not right. You know what I mean? Dude, little column A, little column B.
I mean, it's just what it is. You look back at the 90s, you wonder, what the fuck are they doing? It's just like, I don't know. Every era is going to present something new, something that they're going to beat to death,
Mm.
and then move on and transition to new things, and then that'll get tired. It's just the way of the world. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, pirates. I'm a biggest pirate fan.
I love it.
And I'm just talking general pirates. Love them all.
Such a short era too. Do you know they weren't they weren't around for that long.
No, not really. 10 years.
10 years, yeah. You know, I took a course in piracy.
You did?
Yeah, at UH. They talked about pirates and the colonial. I have a whole like textbook about it.
Get it,
dude.
Like,
I was so into Pirates of the Caribbean. I named one of my cats after Jack Sparrow.
Oh,
is that true? Or are you bullshitting right now?
I am not bullshitting you at all. His name is Jack because of Pirates of the Caribbean.
Because he was like the coolest character of the first decade of the century,
dude. I rewatched that fight scene between him and what's it called, Orlando Bloom, and the blacksmith
Smith shop.
Yeah.
I was like, no, that's
what
like
a fucking fun, cool scene, man.
This is why I wanted to do the greatest sword fights of all time.
What's stopping you?
Ranking.
What's stopping you?
Well, you guys
Junior producer Ed Ball, come on,
come on.
But that was definitely up there.
Luis
that one's a great sword fight. The sword fight, yeah.
It's so fun and so good. That first movie is so good.
Like great physical comedy all the way along.
Yeah.
So anyway, all that to say, Margot Robbie's not doing it. So
you know what else Margot Robbie's not doing?
What?
The Eiffel Tower.
Building this Lego Eiffel Tower.
She might do. She could afford it.
I don't. Was she? Well, maybe it's not about price. You know what I mean?
This is about price. I mean, for me, this is about price. I think it's a beautiful structure. Anyway, Lego is coming out with the Eiffel Tower that's releasing on Black Friday of this month.
You gonna get it?
Nope.
How much is it, Ed? How much is it?
$629, which is, a good chunk of change. But it's not for nothing. It is 10,000
58 inches tall. I actually
which is a
happen
record.
to have one of these bad boys.
It's about 5 feet, right?
What?
Yeah.
58
Pull out
inches?
58 inches, my friend.
Hell yeah, pull it out, Luis.
Yeah. Ugh.
Okay, hold on.
Oh, no, it went back.
Quit dicking around. We want to see it.
Damn. Oh, holy shit. This thing is huge. I'm going to stand up. Oh,
yeah.
My backdrop is falling.
You guys, look at their house. Ooh.
Disgusting.
Lived in home.
I'm going to do this.
Can you zoom out?
Wow. That's 58 inches?
From the ground up? Yeah,
I'm 5'7".
Damn.
Wow, dude.
Go to youtube.com/@punchdrunknerd to see how tall 58 inches is.
I'm going to be honest.
Tall. Look how tall
that is a centerpiece if ever
Where do you even put this?
And the living room.
Where do you even put this? Yeah, right in the middle of the living room. What a centerpiece.
I don't think any of our significant others would allow us to bring something like
Absolutely
that home.
not. This is something you put in the backyard, possibly, right? Let it
as like a statue,
yeah.
And let it grow some like moss and stuff. That would be beautiful.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, what do you think you could spend $629 on, where your significant other would be like, "Oh, okay,
rent."
Okay, all right."
Hey, you want a roof over your head? Yeah, sure. $629.
That is so many pieces. I want to know how big. Let's see. The Millennium Falcon Lego piece. How many pieces were in that one?
Well, I don't keep this off the top of my head.
I know. Let's see.
That's disappointing.
And that one's $849.
Oh God.
And it's huge. It's available now. Oh my God. Okay, so this one is 7,541 pieces. How big is the Eiffel Tower one?
10,001.
10,000? That's way more than this one.
To put it in more
it's
perspective,
a huge Eiffel Tower thing. Of course it's more than that. 10,000 pieces.
My Jurassic Park gate with a Tyrannosaurus Rex was only 3,120.
And how long did it take you to do that one? Ballpark.
That was a while, but that was like spread out over a couple of days.
Yeah, but ballpark it. What do you think?
5 days.
5 days. How much is it? 3,000?
It would take you forever.
3,120. Yeah.
Wow.
But I'm looking up my London Bridge because that one was tedious as fuck.
I still cannot get over the fact how freaking tall this thing
Tower
is.
Bridge, I'm sorry.
I didn't
Tower
realize
Bridge.
this.
Tower Bridge was 4,295 pieces.
This thing blows it out of the water.
Yeah. We talked about, let's see, what's the Colosseum? Yeah. I mean, we were talking about that Hulkbuster the other day that was like breaking all the limits.
Right, it was supposed to be the tallest Lego thing, right?
Second to it, I guess.
Maybe like the tallest
Colosseum.
character, but not the tallest thing.
Yeah, tallest, exactly.
Well, because
the Colosseum is 9,300. Sorry, 9,036 pieces.
Which one is that one?
The Colosseum
in Colosseum. The Harry. What about the Harry Potter? Harry Potter castle. Like that thing is pretty big too.
Do you want to name it correctly?
What?
Hogwarts.
Harry Potter castle.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Is it not a castle in which Harry Potter resides?
Harry Potter, welcome to the Harry Potter castle.
He's like, whoa, they named it after me. But you're fucking famous.
Harry Potter, named after the castle.
We all know you, Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
You guys. That's
the
my
boy
favorite.
Who has a castle?
That's my favorite fucking TikTok. Is that guy where he's like, Harry Potter walks up. He's like, I'm Harry Potter. He's like, you really fucking think I don't know who
Harry
you are.
Potter.
Harry Potter. I don't remember his name on the top of my head, but I'll share that link again in our story. That shit, I crack up every time. You really fucking think.
You should share it with me. Maybe I can put it in the podcast.
Right,
wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Imagine if it fell down. What a lot of noise it would make.
Oh man,
it makes so much noise.
But it's a gorgeous set, and it could break into 4 different pieces. I mean, they're very practical about these things.
That's true.
But goddamn, it's like toys for the 1%. I cannot afford this.
I know.
So I'll just wave it by as it goes out of circulation. Yeah. So there you go.
What a mess! What a mess it would make if you broke this, and what a loud noise it would make.
If you broke this. I see what you were putting down, Luis.
But I tell you what, I won't get this on day one. I will not get this on day one for sure.
Mm-hmm. A Quiet Place is happening. Day 1. Miguel, speak anytime.
Oh, I thought you were taking over.
No, I didn't even put this one in there.
No. Quiet Place, day 1. You guys, we're getting a third Quiet Place movie, but this is not the third Quiet Place movie. Does that make sense? It's not the third of the trilogy. We're getting a little bit of a prequel here. You guys know how much I love prequels. Quiet Place, day 1. You guys, Lupita Nyong'o is going to star in this one. Did you guys know this? Did you guys hear about this?
Yes, we talked about it in the podcast.
Moving on, and
but I didn't know about Joseph Quinn joining. That's news to me.
Today they announced Joseph Quinn is in talks to star as well. Joseph Quinn from Stranger Things. You guys watch that show?
Yes.
Nope. So
but I know he's the guy who played the guitar.
That's right, Ed. Look at you, finger on the pulse.
Yeah, and I have to watch something in there.
Yeah, you just know. Anyway, yeah, it was. He's hot right now. People love him. He's joining Lupita Nyong'o. Quiet Place, day 1. I assume we're seeing. You know what I mean? The start of that little
another franchise,
pandemic,
IP.
Whatever they called it. God, this is one for the books. I think it's going to be our best episode.
We're all very tired, as you can tell.
God, you guys, people over 30 can't start podcasts. Okay,
no, we're doing a great job. We're doing a great job. No one's going to boycott this podcast. Okay,
no,
you know who is boycotting? Brendan Fraser will be boycotting the Golden Globes if invited. We all know that he's kicking ass with the movie The Whale. He's coming back up. People think, wow, Brendan Fraser's back. Baby, he's been back. Have you seen Doom Patrol? Motherfucker's great. But anyway, he's coming back in. He's have his movie The Whale. It's going to have a lot of awards, and he's saying he won't attend. Why won't he attend?
So,
because
go ahead, Ed. Yeah, go ahead.
A previous president of the Golden Globes sexually harassed him, or like fondled. What's the
Assaulted it.
assaulted, sexually assaulted him.
Yes.
And so, yeah, for obvious reasons, the Golden Globes, being as shitty as they are still shitty, and he doesn't want to be a part of it.
Yeah, they tried. They tried to deny it, discredit him, and say he was lying. And he said, my mom didn't raise me to be a hypocrite, so I'm not going. If I get invited, I'm not going to the Golden Globes. Shout out Brendan Fraser. So far, you know what I mean. He can do no wrong right now. It's like everything he says, everyone's like, we are on board.
I was surprised. I thought they were cancelled this year. So
why did you think that?
Because they've been undergoing so much controversy, being, racist.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
And who was it? Tom Cruise, I think, sent back his Golden Globe. He sent it back to them.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Tom Cruise, and I think some other celebrities too. But yeah, like some people have been like boycotting the Golden Globe. So I mean, I guess I lost track. But yeah, I was unaware it was happening. But hey, even if it is, probably won't watch it, and Brendan Fraser won't be there anyway.
If my boy Brendan's not there, I'm not watching either.
It's not a party. The whale's not there. Forget about it. What party I'd like to attend?
What party would you like to attend?
One with vodka and a little bit of Daniel Craig.
Also delicious.
I don't know if you guys have ever tried Belvedere vodka. I can't say that I have, but Taika Waititi and Daniel Craig have, and they come out with a nice little commercial for it. You guys watched this, right?
I did, yes.
I actually only saw screenshots of it, so that's my bad.
So you guys saw that Fat Boy Slim music video with Christopher Walken?
Uh-huh.
You know which one I'm talking about, where he flies and he dances?
Uh-huh.
This kind of reminded me of that. It was just like somebody who to be very serious, generally speaking, and is just kind of like cutting loose, wearing a wife beater, got like showing off some tattoos, and dancing throughout a hotel in a very Zoolander way.
Hang on a second. Can we go back? Did you say Fat Boy Slim a second ago?
Yes.
Was it not Fat Boy Slim?
Is that who you're referencing?
Yeah, it's Fat Boy Slim.
I have never heard of this person, so I just Googled him.
What?
You've never heard of Fat Boy Slim?
Right about now, the Funk Soul Brother. Check it out now.
Okay.
The Funk Soul Brother. Also, the Weapon of Choice. That was the music video that he was in. Right,
Christopher Walken.
Yeah.
You should watch that music video, Miguel.
I'm just blown away. Fat Boy Slim. How would you? What is he? A rapper? Fat Boy. What do you call it? A musician? Like, what it says here.
DJ.
He's an artur. Electronic dance music.
Got it. Got it. Okay, cool.
Close enough.
Norman Quentin Cook is an English musician,
top 5
DJ.
So anyway, that's a fun little video that swept the internet this last week.
I'm glad Daniel Craig's done with Bond, and now he's having fun.
You know he seems to be having fun. Yeah, who was it?
I'm out here having a good time.
You sent out a clip or a tweet or something.
Dave Bautista was saying he was having so much more fun on Glass Onion compared to Spectre, which the movie Spectre was, a slog. So,
but goddamn, it was beautiful, wasn't it? Good.
Yeah, it was gorgeous.
Good
gorgeous.
cinematography.
And Dave Bautista was all right too.
I forgot he was in it. That's why it makes sense that he made that.
He's
comment.
the big henchman.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, how does he know that? Did they talk about? But he's in the Bond movie. Okay. I forgot. See how much I forgot?
The grapevine. Yeah. No,
he's like, Daniel
cool.
told me he's having so much more fun in Glass Onion than he ever did.
Yeah.
Yeah. You always got the impression Daniel Craig was kind of like in a love-hate relationship with Bond. So yeah, like you said, it's nice to see him kind of cut loose and do these.
I mean, it blew him up. You know, you can't deny the fact that it blew him up. Like, without him, he wouldn't have been able to get the roles that he has now. Like, he was a tiny guy.
No, exactly.
And when you shared this, like, commercial for Taika and Daniel Craig and Belvedere, I also shared there is this Spike Jonze commercial where he had Margaret Qualley from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. She's doing a dance for this Kenzo World ad, and she's like a dancer, and she does like a music video with Shia LaBeouf where they're dancing together. Anyway, it's pretty great and pretty crazy. Shia LaBeouf's not in this one, but it's Spike Jonze. He directs like commercials sometimes, and that's another thing. So if you're into commercials, check that out. But we're not talking about commercials.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, no, we're not.
No, we're talking about trailers now. Okay. We're talking about the new trailer, Magic Mike: The Last Dance, and it's got directed by Steven Soderbergh. What the what? I had to look this up. I didn't realize he directed the first one. He did not direct the second one, but that's crazy. I can't believe he's directing these.
Coming back to finish the trilogy.
Says, I'm going to get the job done, okay? The guy who did number 2 couldn't do it.
He's going to J.J. Abrams it.
I'm coming back. Yeah, he's J.J. Abrams it. You know what I mean? Call me J.J. Abrams. Call me Steven J.J. Abrams Soderbergh.
I like how this is the second film he's directed in this trilogy, and he's taking Magic Mike and the crew to Europe, which felt very Ocean's 12.
Ocean's 12.
Yeah. Ocean's 12, but it also feels like Mamma Mia or something like that. It's just like the third movie installment of a movie that you never thought would even get a second movie. Yeah, like but here we are.
I added this last minute just because I forgot about it. I texted Kristen last night. Oh, look, Magic Mike's coming out, and then we were looking for things to add today. I couldn't believe this wasn't already on the list. I barely remember the first movie. I get like there was a lot of hype. They were like, "Ooh, sexy men." Matthew McConaughey, was he in that one, Ed?
Yeah, he was.
I haven't seen
any of them. I haven't seen any of them.
Yeah, I haven't seen.
Hey, maybe we should all watch a Magic.
You want to do a Magic Mike?
Yeah,
trilogy?
Let's do a Magic Mike marathon
With our snuggies.
The gayest podcast alive. Punch drunk nerd. Let's go
with the ladies.
No.
Just together.
Just us. Right. I really am. Really would love like a little movie night between the three of us cuddled up. I sent you guys that tweet the other day.
Can we do that for your bachelor party, Luis? Can we just all get into some cute pajamas, matching pajamas, and we're just going to watch Magic Mike all day, bro?
No, not for my bachelor party. For my bachelor party, we're going to watch the MCU phase 1 through 4, baby. Okay. You're trapped for 4 days, like, no sleep, watching all the movies. Are you paying attention, Miguel? You're not allowed to sleep. Iron Man's putting on his suit for the 20th time. Don't you realize this is important for his arc? Okay. Captain America just swatted a fly. It's important for his arc. Don't go to sleep. Groot just said, "I am Groot" for the 5th time. We'd love to see movies together.
Yeah, Magic Mike. Last Dance, you guys. Ed did write this synopsis real quick. I'll read it. Selma, Ed, you wrote this, right?
Because there is no official synopsis.
Salma Hayek.
Literally, I read they're keeping it hush hush for a Magic Mike movie.
But Ed watched the trailer and he put a little something together. It goes like this: Salma Hayek, which is that how you spell Salma Hayek?
No.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's how you spell. Is that how you spell Salma Hayek?
Salma?
Yeah, it is.
You're right. You know what? You won.
When you're right, you're right.
When you're right, you're
because
right.
I had to check myself. I wrote Selma. But I was like, no, she's not like Marge Simpson's sister. She's Salma Hayek.
Yeah, you're right. Goddamn. All right, 1 point to
Salma Hayek.
Take that.
Salma.
The official Ed synopsis. Salma Hayek tells Channing Tatum, quote, "Let's dance." And they dance. Directed by Steven Soderbergh. 10 out of 10.
I mean, that's the gist of the trailer.
You're not wrong.
I mean, good for both of them because they're both sleeping with beautiful people.
I watched this trailer with my son sitting next to me, and I was kind of like, I kept looking over at him every now and then. We're like, "You seeing this shit? That's Salma Hayek."
And what do you do? She's like, "What do you do?" She's like, "I'll show you what I do." Bum, 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 bum. Like, damn. Okay,
I was like, "That's how it's done, boy. That's how it's done." All right?
So that's going to be the third movie. But if you are yearning for movies that have a quadology, then fear
Go
not,
on.
because I have one for you. It's John Wick Chapter 4. It's coming out 2023. It's got Keaune Reeves doing his thing. With the price of his head ever increasing, legendary hitman John Wick takes his fight against the High Table Global. The High Table Global, as he seeks out the most powerful players in the underworld, from New York to Paris to Japan to Berlin to Bill Skarsgård, the guy who played It. Apparently, they're going to face off against one another in this movie. That's like the plot, right? Like, listen, if you can face off against Bill Skarsgård, then the debt that you have on your head is gone. And if you don't show up on time, well, then you're going to get assassinated. I have a bet. I have a guess. He's not going to show up on time, and a lot of people are going to kill him or try to kill him.
And then the fifth movie will come.
And then the fifth movie will come. Yes,
right.
The fifth movie will come.
Oh, I was going to let you finish.
Oh, I think the fifth movie will come, and he'll kill Bill Skarsgård, but it's not over yet, baby. And then that's going to.
And Donnie Yen, he fights Donnie Yen in this one. Yeah. Probably more importantly.
I got to go back and watch these movies. Maybe I'll feel like a little more invested. But watching this trailer, I was kind of like,
It is like, wait, what's happened again? Where are we in the movie?
And also,
can I get a recap?
At one point, speaking of Donnie Yen, this is what reminded me of it. At one point in the trailer, him and Donnie Yen are fighting each other. They each have a sword, but they also have a gun. They each have a gun.
They're deflecting
the bullets with the swords. And I was like, no. This is unbelievable. I cannot abide by this.
Maybe some context. It'll be like slow-mo.
These are the super slow bullets that we created specifically.
So you can die more slowly, Mr. Wick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Oh, hey, yeah, okay.
Magnetic swords.
So you were reading the synopsis, and all I could think was like, it just sounds like every other movie. Except
could not different. This is the Fast and Furious.
I'm not dogging on John Wick. I do enjoy John Wick, but there is a certain repetitiveness.
Okay,
to
so
it.
John Wick, they killed his dog, so he's going to go after them, and he kills the dude. End of story. John Wick 2 shouldn't have killed that dude. Wait. Yeah. No, that's still John Wick 1. He kills the dude, and then his dad's like, "You shouldn't have killed that dude. He was my son. Now I'm going to kill you." And then John Wick 2, his brother goes after him.
You killed that guy on that. You killed that guy. You shouldn't have killed that guy.
Shouldn't have killed that guy. Now I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
Oh.
We're all going to kill you.
Wasn't there a thing where it was like, you owe me once, you have to do what I tell you to do? And he's like, nah, bro. And then he killed him at the hotel, and he's like, you can't do that. Now everyone's coming after you. And then in episode 3,
after him.
Everyone's coming after
Parabellum.
him. Yeah. Parabellum. And then Halle Berry's in that one.
No,
right?
You're not getting out of this, and he has to cut off a finger.
But wait, how does that one end?
Yeah. He walks away limping, and they're just like, oh, we're going to come get you, John Wick.
Is it the one where, like, in New York, they were, like, all coming after him?
It's all in New York. They're all coming after him.
They're always coming after him. They're like, in this movie, like, okay, we can't have everyone coming after him. We're just going to have to face off Bill Skarsgård one-on-one. Like, let's change
on a one-on-one, and we'll call it quits. After all of this shit. After, like, a population of people have died.
Today in the news, many people continue to die randomly.
When will they get the hint that you cannot kill John Wick? Anyway,
I love in John Wick fashion, or I don't know if it's him or Keaune Reeves, but every trailer now has to have this like line of dialogue where they're like, it's something in the first trailer. It was like, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back. You know what I mean?
People are asking if I'm back, and I'm thinking,
and now he's got to have these lines. Back. And in this one, Lawrence Fishburne is like, he's like handing him a suit, and he's like, "You ready?" And John Wick turns around, and he's like, "Yeah." And you're like,
no, he's like, "I need a gun.
I'm going to need a gun.
I'm going to need a gun." And then, but isn't that like a callback to the Matrix, where it's like, "I'm going to need more guns."
I don't like it. I will also say the sad part. Speaking of Matrix, thank you, Luis. This initially pre-pandemic, right? Matrix 4 and John Wick 4 were supposed to come out originally on the same weekend.
No way. Get out of
in
town.
like 2021. Initially, that's how it was supposed to go. And then everything got delayed. COVID this, that, COVID this, and that. And then we ended up getting it separated from each other. But man, what a weekend that would have been. A couple of shitty Keaune Reeves movies.
It reminds
back
me of
to
like
back.
when Drake was on the radio anytime you switched to a radio station, Drake. We switched to a radio station from Drake. That was like back in 2012. It was like a Drake.
That's
Drake,
right.
Drake, Drake.
We
Except
would've
this
had
time it
that.
would have been just like Keaune Reeves.
We'll never live in that timeline where we got to see both those movies on the same weekend. But man, he would have made so much money. I'll tell you what. That would have been like billionaire status.
What a good man.
John Wick, Chapter 4.
Coming soon.
Do you know that he gave money to his VFX team because they did such a good job? He's like, I couldn't have done it without you. And like the VFX, there's no VFX union, so they just keep getting fucked and screwed over. And he's
Right,
the only one who recognizes them for their good work. It's unfortunate. I really want to support the VFX community.
He's the humblest of humble persons, is old Keaune Reeves. I mean, you always hear stories like that, basically, wherever he goes. So, not a great actor, but you got to give it to him.
He commits.
He's a good actor.
He commits
He
to
does
his
commit.
action. Yeah, you know what I mean.
He
You always see
does.
those training videos where he's like really like doing the shit.
He's Tom
Just-
Cruise in it.
just
He's not
like
hanging
I've-
out of a plane, but he's Tom Cruise in it.
Whoa! What
Just
if you had
like-
Tom Cruise, Keanu Reeves, and
Versus
Christopher
John Wick?
Nolan? A Christopher Nolan film, Keanu Reeves versus Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Can we make that
Do
movie?
it.
Who else is like crazy that would be together that would work well? Who's like committed to the art?
Jared Leto.
Oh, God.
No.
Just to come in and
Psych.
suck up a
Yeah.
film, just a third of the film, just completely ruin it.
You would come in the third act of like a Nolan film and just like, I'm actually the bad guy.
You're like, you are. That's
Let me show
true.
you how weird I am. But
Man,
anyway,
you know who the better Joker was? It was Mark Hamill. You guys liked him as the Joker?
I did.
no. You know who I like even better?
who?
Kevin Conroy.
Yes.
Ed,
We have to
thank
talk
you.
about this. Obviously, Kevin Conroy sadly has passed at the age of 66. I mean, listen, everyone knows he is the best Batman. You know?
My wife had no idea he was Batman at all, and I sent you guys that. I was so disappointed.
We all
I texted
failed.
her.
We all
I
felt
texted her. Said Kevin Conroy died, and she was like, "Oh no!" And I was like, "Man, he was my Batman." And she was like, "I had no idea he was even Batman." I was like, God damn it! Oh gee,
We'd
man.
be laughing
funny.
right now, but yeah.
Every time we talk about Batman, it's like, what's your favorite Batman? People will always piece it together. They'll say, I like, Ben Affleck to do this part, and I like Christian Bale for this part. Like, they'll split it up. Like, I like his performance of Bruce Wayne, and then I like this other actor's performance of Batman. But Kevin Conroy was able to capture both essences perfectly. He was able to capture the balance. He was able to find confidence in Batman, and also have a lot of like fun as Bruce Wayne, and somebody who is relaxed, and not as angsty as we kind of see him now. He just seemed like the perfect hybrid of everything, and whenever he spoke, he didn't need to like change his voice like this to have fear. Like, he was able to just change his voice a little bit, and it struck fear, and it was believable. It didn't seem cartoony at all. Yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts on Kevin Conroy?
Just blew my fucking mind. Some celebrities, when they die, you just go, yeah, that makes sense. They were old or had a troubled life, and you go, oh, okay, yeah, it's sad, but you kind of could see it coming. This was, Ed sent this in a text, and I mean, it just like stopped my whole day. I was like, man, everyone passes, and you just have to kind of accept it at some point.
But it's such a young age.
Like, you just don't. Yeah, 66 is. I know Gen Z would like to say that is super old, but it's not.
And I think it strikes more of a chord. I mean, he was our first Batman, arguably. I mean,
and not only first Batman, but I mean, what a long running.
He continued.
Run. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He played
He
Batman
yeah.
into
in
our
the video
adulthood.
games, yeah,
Yeah.
Video
absolutely.
games, multiple cartoons, multiple
He
adaptations.
even like
of this
they even
character.
had him show up in the CW for the Arrowverse. You know, like
That's right.
Kevin Conroy actually physically was
Played.
Batman in the
Yeah.
series. I mean, he never donned the cowl or anything like that, but he did play as Bruce Wayne, and you get to see him do that. And so it's like, anytime people could use him as Batman, they were like, "We're going to strike gold. Let's get him." Like that was like a hot ticket to lock in
Yeah.
Kevin Conroy as Batman. Continued on with Batman Beyond. I mean, when we thought it was all over with Batman animated series, he continued
they did,
on
like,
as his
yeah, like,
character.
3 versions of the animated series Batman, and then they move on to Batman Beyond, and you're just like, whoa, he's like the longevity. And then
Yeah.
he went on for like 15 more years to play Batman in different iterations.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like on a couple of occasions he may have even been like, "Oh yeah, I'm not doing any more Batman or whatever," but he always came back. And I mean, it's kind of like the James Earl Jones effect. You just can't hear anybody else's voice in that role. You know what I mean? Just whenever you think of Batman in the animated series,
Right.
It's him. And you know exactly what
No
that
one-
voice is.
No one has the humanity. No one has the dominating
Yeah.
factor. No one has just like the well-roundedness that his voice
Exactly,
could bring.
yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It's insane.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Shout out Kevin
Shout out.
Conroy.
Cheers to you, Kevin.
Cheers. Well, that was the news, and next we're going to do our feature discussion of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Spoiler alert: if you haven't seen the movie, you can pause this and then skip on to what we're into if you'd like. We have it in the show notes where everything starts. We have it in the show notes at the bottom when the news starts, when the feature discussion starts, and when we're into starts. So if you haven't seen Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, jump on over to what we're into. You can hear what we're into. But if not, get ready, because now we're going to talk about Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. All right, now we are ready to do the Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. What are we doing?
You just said Wakanda Forever.
Oh, I'm exhausted. Let's do it one more time. Okay. Alrighty, folks, we are ready to do our feature discussion for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Spoilers alert. Again, spoilers alert. If you haven't seen the movie, please go see the movie. Now, we have a little synopsis from IMDb I'm going to read out real quick, just to give you a quick reminder, just to give you a glimpse of what the movie was again. According to IMDb, Queen Ramonda, Shuri, M'Baku Okoye, and the Dora Milaje fight to protect their nation from intervening world powers. Ooh, I wonder what that is. In the wake of King T'Challa's death. As the Wakandans strive to embrace their next chapter, the heroes must band together with Nakia and Everett Ross to forge a new path for their beloved kingdom. And so many more other people join in that battle. Now, before we talk about our experiences and how we feel in general thoughts, we love theater. We love theaters. We love movies. We're going to talk about our theater experience first, okay?
Yep.
We're going to start off slow. We're going to get this thing easy and nice. What was everyone's theater experience like? What movie format did you see it in?
Luis, I want to say this in a perfectly sensual way. I was thinking about you throughout this movie the entire time, because
very
I went
nice.
to Edwards Greenway Plaza,
Yes.
and I've got to say, it was just like the regular showing.
Uh-huh.
I gotta say, the whole time I was thinking, like, man, I wish I was watching the Dolby, like the AMC, because the sound quality was a little subpar.
Ooh,
and I'll
that's
get
rough.
into it more when we get a little more into it. I was just like, it's kind of weak. But overall, it's a solid theater or whatever. It was a packed theater for sure.
Yeah.
When did you see it? What day did you see it in?
Friday night at 7:45 p.m.
All right. Yes. Fellow
Yes.
Friday night viewer here.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, you got to get ahead, right? But yeah, I mean, overall, it's a good crowd.
Good
night.
crowd. What about you, Miguel? What theater did you see it in?
I saw it at the Alamo Draft House, the only way to see movies.
The one where it tells you to shut the fuck up or get out kind of situation, right? They're pretty aggressive about it.
They kind of are. Yeah.
But they play like fun. But you were telling me they were playing fun clips beforehand or something.
Yeah, so we saw a couple times they played like a clip of whatever cartoon that Namor was in originally. Like I don't know if it was like Justice Friends or something, but it was something from like the
definitely
70s.
Not Justice Friends. That's DC.
Oh, you're right. I've been hanging out with my son.
James Gunn's gonna hunt you down and kill you for that one.
And do what? Naughty. No. So yeah, I came. I went on Saturday night. Saw it at Alamo Draft House. It was a full house. I got like not the like front rows, like not the ones like right by the screen, but like the front of the main section. I got like bottom left, which I kind of liked because I was able to get in. I know Ed disagrees. No,
I was just trying to picture it. I was just picturing it in my mind.
I know. Every time I pick a seat, I'm like, oh, Ed would not like this seat. Ed's always.
I got dead center. I get it. I booked that ticket the night before too.
Wow.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Did you go by yourself or with Sarah?
No, I got 5 tickets.
In the dead center?
And everybody... No, I was in the center. Everyone was to my left. On your left.
I know that reference.
But,
I
don't mind sitting next to strangers so long as I'm in the middle. You know what I mean?
Got it.
Wait, but how big was your theater, though? Was it a huge theater or was it a small theater?
No, it's pretty big.
Really? That's crazy.
It's not like, it wasn't one of those grand... screens, yeah. So I don't know. Not to go into too much detail. The regular theater I go to, the Marquee, which has the IMAX and everything.
Yeah.
Half of that is closed right now because they're refurbishing it.
Oh.
No. So the IMAX I think is closed because they're redoing that. So they only had half the showings. Usually, like with the MCU movie, it's
45.
It's all day. Yeah.
Every 15 minutes, there's like another screening. And it just didn't have them. Or anyway, like they were booked at those good times. So yeah, I looked at Greenway and they had plenty
just
of
the right
showings.
one.
And,
wow.
Yeah, 7:45. And there was still tons of seats. But people aren't like us. Not everybody. You know what I mean? Like people.
LA's different, man. LA, you got to fight for people for these tickets. Like to get that king seat in the middle, is very difficult to get, especially on a Friday night. Which I wasn't able to see it in Dolby. I had to see it in IMAX, which, excuse me, poor me, seeing it in IMAX. Doing a subpar audio for a huge, incredible fucking screen, which Marvel's been doing a lot. They've been making their movies specifically for IMAX, and so it's kind of hard to go to Dolby when they're formatted for IMAX. Like the Batman wasn't IMAX filmed, and so I was like, oh, it's easy. I'll do Dolby Atmos. But this one was IMAX, so I didn't feel bad. I couldn't get the Dolby seats, but I got the IMAX seats.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm curious, do you think it lived up to that?
Oh, yeah. No, it was great. I don't think it wasn't full IMAX format the whole time. It didn't bother me. What I did learn, though, was that I thought, because Sarah was with me, and I wanted to get good seats so she can go to the bathroom just in case. And there is this aisle. So you have like the stadium seating, right? You have the first stadium seats, and then there's like that aisle like near 3/4 of the way back so people can walk in between. And then there's like another part of the stadium. It's like this and then this. Do you know what I'm saying? So I thought I would get in the middle section with all that foot room and be like, oh, this is going to be great. Yeah. I have all this foot room. No one's ahead of me. Wrong. Hugest mistake ever. Do not do that because the screen is so big that the seats in front of me were blocking the screen, and I was like, God damn it, this sucks. And so I wish I was on an elevated place instead of on a flat plane. Yeah. So you do get a lot of foot room, but you definitely like get seats in your view, which was unfortunate. But it was okay. I kind of like stood up on my feet, in my chair to like get the view.
Sure, prop yourself up a little bit.
But
you always IMAX is a different one. You gotta sit more further back. I feel like to really take
to get
in
the full scope.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like I'm going to lose people on this, but I kind of liked where I was sitting as like my preferred choice. You know what I mean? I get dead center as a solid spot. Not knocking it.
Hey.
Just love the idea of being able to come and go. I'm in, I'm out. You know what I mean?
You're one of those people who leaves the basketball game early, just like it's not done. Like, oh, it's just
It's honestly,
last quarter,
Luis,
let's just go.
hilarious that you think I'm at a basketball game.
Okay. I don't want to defer too far. This is a Black Panther future discussion review. Let's not talk about basketball games. Let's get back to how we're feeling. We've been talking about theaters for a long time. I'm going to talk about general feelings about it. Let's just talk about how we felt about it.
Sad.
You know what? It was sad. It was beautiful. You know what? Coming into it, I saw the trailer and I was like, my God, this is going to elevate the MCU again after everything we've experienced in Phase 4. You know, it's been up and down, a lot of experiments, a lot of things that people may not like or whatever. And I saw some people not give it a 10 out of 10 or like a 9 out of 10 or 8 out of 10. I was like a 7 out of 10. I was like, oh my God, really? And then I saw this and I was like, wow, could easily become one of my top 10 MCU films. Do you know what I mean? It was beautiful. It was earnest. It was honest. It was stunning. It was like visually beautiful. It handled, Chadwick Boseman T'Challa's death very well in the goodbye. It handled grief very well. The performances were incredible. Angela Bassett just stole the show, stole the whole movie. Her performances were killer. I mean, everybody on this thing was incredible. They had all these nuanced performances. They weren't played down. They weren't melodramatic about it. You know, kind of some of the performances we're getting where they're playing the feelings. And here it was a lot more honest. And it makes sense because obviously this is a real thing that happened. And so you can almost feel those real feelings, not just about T'Challa, but about Chadwick Boseman kind of bleed through. And they showcased those feelings. There were nuances. They evolved. And I think they handled humor really well. You know, we get this thing where MCU is always where they're like smackety jokety things. It started off kind of fine with Iron Man, and then the people have ramped it up. And especially with like Taika's Thor: Love and Thunder, everything has gone out of like kind of control with the humor radar. But here it was like handled very well. I think there was only one time there was like an MCU-y joke, and it was from Namor, and it was about like, you know, when Shuri was going to go down and watch the Telecon, which is like the new Atlantean city. There was a joke there, but anyway, it handled its productions very well. Nothing seemed weirdly staged. Everything was like beautifully shot and framed. Again, Angela Bassett, incredible. And then I have a lot more of the things I can talk about, but I'm going to pass the mic on to Miguel. Miguel, what did you think about Wakanda Forever?
Yeah. I was instantly hooked. I mean, I thought the opening scene was very good. I mean, they did a really good job of being like, look, let's address it head on. Like, let's let's don't dick around or beat around the bush. You know, obviously we all know Chadwick Boseman passed. One of the things I was most curious about, as I'm sure a lot of people were, was just like, how are you going to handle that? And I thought it was, in a way, kind of, I don't know if touching is the right word, but that they used kind of like the real life scenario for the character as well. You know what I mean? Like, he hid his illness. He had this like mystery disease that they never really say what it is. And it's like, okay, yeah, you know, you don't really need to put a name on it. And I just thought the opening that it opens to just a black screen and you just hear Shuri like kind of praying to herself or to Bast. And I just thought it was, you know, kind of foreshadowing for her character in this movie, just being like, you know, I promise I'll never doubt you again. Like, please just save my brother kind of deal, or let me save my brother. And I was just, I mean, I did write down in my notes just really quickly. The first thing I wrote down was what scenes made me cry. And that was, I mean, instantly I was tearful.
Right away. Yeah.
Right away. With a few more here that I'll talk about a little bit later. But it also, I mean, just to echo what you said, it looked really beautiful through most of the movie. I'm trying to think of any time where I felt like, even in Black Panther, you can criticize like that last fight scene between the Killmonger and Black Panther as kind of shoddy CGI, and you can get that a lot with a lot of MCU movies, but I just never really felt that in this. Were there some? Maybe, but nothing.
Not really. Out. No, that's what I mean. I feel like they handled their like the production of it all very well, costuming and sound effects, and like everything was done with care and with love, and you could tell right from that first scene this was handled with so much care. To go off what you're saying, like, yeah, the first thing they do is obviously deal with T'Challa's death, and I didn't know how they were going to do that. If we were going to get like flashbacks, if they were going to like have a body double to like see his body but not really. Would they do like what they did for Fast and Furious and kind of like CGI this, or like what's going to happen? What are they going to do? But I think they handled it so well, and I think as in the audience collectively in the theater, we were kind of like in that funeral together, experiencing this. Like this is the first time we're dealing with this in the MCU, and we're all kind of quote celebrating and mourning his passing.
I know Ed wants to jump in here and share his thoughts. I just want to say one more quick thing about this before I pass it on to him. So in the intro, obviously, it's very touching. He passes. Shuri, the Queen Ramonda, comes up and just kind of tells her, like, he's gone. It's very touching, very sad. And then they cut to the Marvel logo, which, of course, is like a nice, like, Chadwick memorial or what have you, where it's, all the shots are of him.
Dead silent too.
Dead silent, and not only on screen, but I'm sure in your theaters was pretty silent.
Yeah.
This is what I'm getting at. Everyone was so quiet except for this one asshole who was like chomping down on popcorn, like so loud across the theater. You could hear this man. Like first he dropped something, like cling, 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 and then it was just like, oh, and you're just like, could you read the room real quick? Like, dude, just like put it down. The music or whatever is going to kick in like 30 more seconds. That was just the only time that I was
silence. Yeah.
And it was like, this is like the moment we're all here for, basically. Like,
yeah. I will say it did start rather abruptly. We were already in our seats, but the theater was definitely still into a transition, like people settling down. The trailers just ended. People were still finding their seats or whatever. And like there's no logos or whatever. It just kind of goes dark and quiet, and then it jumps right into that scene.
Mm-hmm.
And I know like people were still like, oh shit, I need to sit down quickly, because like obviously it's just like some major drama unfolding. I thought that was like an interesting choice. Like clearly that's how they meant. You're just kind of thrown into it.
Just jump into panic right away.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But just knowing most movie-going audiences, like, it's alarming. But, like, yeah, like you were saying, by the time that Marvel logo comes out, it's, like, dead silent. Very effective in that regard.
Touching, very beautiful. So, that's why I was kind of, like... whatever, I was upset about it.
Put off by
this
it.
guy, this one person is kind of like ruining the vibe.
Yeah.
I mean, at least they weren't like talking on the phone or something. You know what I mean? But,
sure.
You're allowed to eat in the theater now, but it's just like, come on.
Yeah.
Stop wrestling.
Would you guys? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't know if you were done. I was going to pose a question.
No, go ahead.
But if you have more to talk about, I'd love to hear it.
So yeah, overall, pretty much everything you guys have touched on, I agree with. Like, definitely Angela Bassett's awesome. The whole cast is awesome. I do have some reservations, here and there. I'm not trying not to be. First, let me just celebrate it. But like, it was very almost therapeutic, and you got a lot of that on screen too. Like, a lot of the characters' frustrations are what you could only assume were the actors' frustrations and sorrows, and everything that everybody just kind of had to grapple with as far as that. And it was kind of cathartic in that way throughout the whole movie, where you're just like, yes, okay, I'm glad they touched on that. I'm glad we talked about that. I'm glad we got that off our chests. When the best of this movie is the quieter, like, dialogue heavy scenes. And I'll leave it there, I guess. But yes, overall, yeah, it was good.
And I gotta say,
don't know if it's in my top 10. I need to like see it a couple more times, you know what I mean? Let the drama settle, or the feelings settle, rather. But yeah, it was like an emotional watch for sure, and they did it very effectively. But I think one of you said it was like very earnest in that it was just trying to do right by that, and you felt that. At no point do you think like you mentioned Fast and Furious. It just didn't feel like I don't know, like a cheap trick or whatever.
Yeah.
No, not at all. And the scene, like the funeral scene as well, like when you see the coffin and it's just like the Black Panther on it. You know what I mean? And you're just like, whoa,
it hits you.
Yeah. You're like, kind of in a similar sense. Do you guys remember, obviously you guys remember the movie The Dark Knight? I can't believe I was just going to say you remember it. But like that's
the what?
The what now? When Heath Ledger passed away, and then of course there's that scene where like the Joker pretends to be dead or whatever, and there was like the kind of like controversy around that when that movie first came out. And it's kind of it's nice here, Louis. You were mentioning like you didn't know if maybe they were going to use like a body double for any of the shots or anything like that, and it's just kind of nice. Like we didn't need any of that.
No,
like just a simple black box with like a Black Panther on it, and you're just like, I don't need to know anymore. I'm already kind of choked up and caught up in it. And
yeah.
No, I was going to say a second ago, Ed, you'll be happy to hear this. I don't remember if we talked about the runtime previously before this movie came out. If we did, I don't remember. I did not realize it was going to be that long until I purchased my ticket that day, that it was going to be 2 hours and 47 minutes long. And I was like, oh shit, that's a long ass movie. And you guys know how I feel about that. But I definitely walked away going, every single minute was, in my opinion, deserved, like earned. And I was hooked the entire way through. I almost got away without having to use the bathroom. Okay, I was this
you went to the bath. What scene did you go to the bathroom in?
So you guys, I like right at the start of the final like act, like when Black Panther was revealed, and I was like confirmed. Okay, now I know who it is.
Yeah.
Okay, before they get into the conflict, the final conflict, I'm gonna go pee real quick. And then I'm gonna come back and enjoy the shit out of this final.
So you missed her talking to M'Baku?
No, I saw that too.
Okay.
I saw, her getting suited up, talk to M'Baku, like the elders, and then talk to M'Baku. And then right at the end of that scene, I got up and went and peed real quick. Quick. Lickety split, man. I was in and out.
That's why you have side seats.
I will disagree with you guys a little bit. I did not care really for any of Martin Freeman's storyline.
Oh, so when I said every moment was deserved, I wasn't really.
I just like no, because I didn't feel like tired or like it was. I didn't think anything was slow. There's a lot that's packed in, I guess is the correct way to put it. There's just like so much going on, and I just thought that whole shtick was just a little jarring compared to the rest of the feel of the film.
I think
I know there's like a certain necessity with scenes like that. It carries through the whole MCU. But I feel like they could have made an exception for this one film. And I will be honest, I didn't get a whole lot out of the Ironheart storyline either.
We can talk about Ironheart for sure in a little bit. I don't.
I'm just saying, like, as far as just like, I don't know. Like, I felt like there are some things that this movie could have lost and been way more impactful.
I definitely think for the Everett Ross thing, and I know they're sprinkling the Countess Valentina in there, and we learn out that they're actually ex-husband and wife, which is crazy. But I think what is important about them is that they are the threat. I mean, there's that line of like, Everett Ross says, "Can you imagine what America would do if they had vibranium?" And then Countess Valentina is like, "I pray for that. I hope for that." And that's exactly what Namor is like afraid of, is that these colonizers are going to come in and just completely, and that's what they're doing at the beginning. They're like, they're fighting for vibranium. They're doing whatever it takes. They're doing all this shady shit. And Everett Ross is the ally who's on the other side of like, he's keeping them afloat. He's saying, hey, the American government's doing this, the American government's doing that, because they will come after you and they will get your vibranium. You know what I mean? So you kind of, it kind of fleshed it out a little bit. So it didn't feel like so much like the other, and you got to have at least some sort of point of view of like, oh, the government's kind of bad. I would say, yeah.
I actually didn't mind Everett Ross being in it because he had such a
prominent role in Black Panther.
And it kind of felt like oh, he kind of fits into the cast now. It was it was Julia Louis-Dreyfus, who I love. But that felt like, oh, now we have to do the whole Marvel setup thing.
Right.
And it was like, it would have been nice if maybe just this one time, I think that's what Ed was kind of saying. We didn't need to do that.
I felt like it. I mean, look, I know. I've heard people talk about Riri Williams' like introduction and the Countess and stuff. I wasn't distracted by that. I felt like I was here for the ride, and it didn't bother me so much that they were added into it. I think they were folded in. Like, she was a threat to Everett Ross, and Riri Williams maybe felt like a little bit of a stretch, but they had to sprinkle it in for the future. You know what I mean? But
I was kind of wondering.
She was also such a great performer that I didn't really care. You know what I mean? Like, she was such a charismatic person. I was like, oh, I like seeing her on screen, so I'm never mad when I see her on screen. That's how I felt.
I was just thinking throughout it that I was just like, oh, why? How come they didn't try and do like a Disney Plus series with her? Like, why is that significant? Not, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's the? I don't know.
She's going to do that, right?
She's getting a
Disney Plus series.
Oh, later on?
Yeah.
Do you not listen to our podcast? I talk about the MCU all the time here, bruh.
Man, did you come out of D23 alive? I was dead after that with all the fucking Marvel announcements. I couldn't tell you what was
Comic-Con and Marvel. I'm throwing all the Marvel news at you.
But
no, it's going to be her and Anthony Ramos is going to be in Ironheart. And, it's going to be like science versus magic in the show.
Okay, well,
if we're talking about Ironheart, can we just talk about that part of the movie real quick?
Yeah.
You guys want to do it?
Since we're already talking about it.
Listen, character, I agree kind of with both of you here for a little bit. As a character, I thought she was very interesting, very engaging. I thought her and Cherie played off each other very nicely. It was nice that they had the chunk of scene. I'll get more into it, but I mean, like, one of my favorite scenes of the whole movie was when she dons the Ironheart armor for the first time. That whole chase, where the FBI or whatever is like closing in on them in that warehouse. That was a really solid scene. I hated that Ironheart armor, man. That was
which one? The Mark 1 or the Mark 2?
No, the updated one. I thought it was so believable when she busted out. You know what I mean? In the warehouse or whatever. I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Oh
yeah.
Well, they gotta go. They have to have an arc, right? You gotta have an arc. You gotta start somewhere not too bad, and then it get better.
I'm all for. Oh, I mean, yeah. Listen,
you know
I'm all for like going
from
from the prototype to having like the updated like Wakanda suit, and then in the TV show it'll streamline it. And I've seen how it looks in the comics, and it does kind of look like this, and then it gets like more Iron Man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm all for that transition. I get that. It looked awful though in the final scene. You know what I mean? She looked like a little mix of like a Power Ranger and like a Godzilla villain or something like that, like Mega Man.
I saw somebody compare it to the Spy Kids, like
Ultron.
in,
like 100%.
Yeah,
100%. It was not great. Not great. The eyes, the mask. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Since we're talking about design, can we talk about the Midnight Angel upgrade or suit? Man, that was a little bit cringy. And not only that, they never really put it to good use. You never really saw the benefits of that suit. And you kind of agree with Okoye, and maybe that's the point.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll come up with like this was like a nod to the comics, right? Because isn't it kind of like the comics? I've seen pictures. But I've seen evidence.
I mean, she straight up talks about like, I hate how this looks.
She's
very bad.
Terrible.
It's
the only thing. I mean, these people, what's it called? I have to look it up again. Talicons. They're like
they're strong.
They're fucking tough as balls. They're so like difficult to fight. You know what I mean?
I just want a good looking suit.
I didn't mind the necessity of the suit.
Sure. I liked it. I was just like, they're gonna use these suits they keep referring to. It's gonna be badass. No, it was as ugly as she kept saying it was, and you didn't even get to see what it did. So it was a little disappointing, and that kind of led to another disappointing like ending to her arc throughout the movie. I just feel like she needed kind of like that moment to, like, she was obviously down in the dumps, having been fired by Angela Bassett.
What a scene! First off, that scene when she gets fired.
That was the best scene in the whole movie.
Good.
Holy shit!
Well, I don't know. There's so many good scenes equally like that. Yeah,
that's my personal favorite. I thought that was so stunning. I was like in tears at that scene. It was so well done by everybody in that room. It was just like the tension was palpable. Good.
They what's it called? They did this a lot of times. Sorry to go referring to that. And the reason why I felt so tense was because they pulled the music and they raised the Foley of like her necklace and things like that to make it feel like you could drop a pin and you could hear everything. And so they pulled sound there, and you heard all the rustles, and it made it feel more intimate and more intense. That fight scene when Okoye is fighting the Talikans for the first time on that bridge. Like, there's no music either. It's just like bing, bang, boom fighting. And it makes it feel more serious than it actually is, you know? Yeah. I think it's another thing where they play with sound really well in this movie, where they just kind of pull it. Like in the beginning of the movie, they pull in the music just to show like how important this moment is. Sorry, I just wanted to mention that.
No, that was cool facts that I wasn't aware of. That there was like so many scenes like that where the drama really just kind of blows everything else out of the water. Absolutely. I forgot what we were talking about prior to that. So
if we're done maybe complaining for just a moment. Let's talk about, I don't know, favorite character. Go.
Yeah.
Ed, you go first.
Ed, go first.
Yeah, I mean, for this one, Queen Ramonda. Ramonda.
Favorite character.
Me?
Yeah, for this,
okay.
I felt the movie suffered. Suffered. I'm sorry.
Wow.
It felt. It was. Let's talk about that too. Like her death.
Did
anybody see that coming?
No, but then narratively it made sense afterwards.
It made sense.
I'm like, it sucked, and I hate it, but it did make sense when it happened. And honestly, because I would agree with you, Ed, I do think that she was my favorite in the movie. But when it got handed off, when she was gone, and then Shuri had to take the mantle, it really did feel like a passing of the torch, because Letitia Wright really picked it up, and she took that fucking fire that Angela Bassett had and continued on with her performance, you know, and she just carried it all the way to the end. So I did feel that feeling like, oh no, we lost her. She was my favorite part. And then, but I feel like she kind of took the mantle again. I know I rushed over and gave my answer, but.
What's your answer? Is it Ramonda?
Yeah. And then I mean, it's cheating, but yeah, I was here Ramonda, and then they hand it off to Shuri after she passes, you know.
Got it.
What about you?
Listen, I'm gonna be for real, dead honest, straight up.
Nobody.
Namor. No. Namor was so cool, dude. He just, every time he was on screen, I was like, "What are you doing? What are you up to?" I'm so fucking hooked right now. Every time he like would walk out of that water, you'd be like, "There he is."
Yeah.
He'd do that little slick back of his hair. You'd be like, "There he is."
Everyone's gonna be doing that now.
He was a ferocious. And then in just a few months, when The Little Mermaid comes out, everyone will be in the water doing that thing again. No, he was so cool. I thought Namor and his people were just like the Black Panther sequel was like the movie to bring in that storyline. I get that like him and Black Panther crossed paths a lot, so that was already happening in the comics, but I just felt like Ryan Coogler was like the right director to bring him in to do the update of the origin and everything and make it feel believable and genuine. I stood by Namor through most of that movie. I was like, hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah, I'm on your side.
Yeah. Until he killed Angela Bassett.
I felt a little weird about that too.
I was like, you son of a bitch.
But he is an anti-hero, you know what I mean? He is protecting his people. Yeah. You know,
he did what he thought was right.
And it's kind of, it mirrors exactly what happens with Wakanda. You know, they were like, "This is our town. We're not going to help anybody. We're going to protect ourselves." Even though they're like incredibly powerful, like Wakanda and Talokan, like they're superhuman people. Wakanda with like incredible technology, they could totally take on the rest of the world. I feel like they're so afraid of us, but it is a mirror example of each other. And how do you deal with protecting your people? And now that like they've lost their Black Panther, how do we protect our people? And someone's like Namor is dealing with fear. Shuri's dealing with grief, just like complete vengeance and anger. It's like it was an incredible like head-on face-off between those two.
Yeah. It they did a good job at making him such a compelling and interesting character. Like his introduction, you're kind of like in amazement of his just kind of like how he presents himself. I don't know much about the character, so the winged feet took me by surprise. When you saw it kind of pan down and see them fluttering up, and I was like, oh, okay, that's how that works. But you just kind of roll with it. But it was really well thought out, like getting to see his perspective. You usually just get like the villain from his perspective in his own words, but like getting to see where he comes from and how he interacts with his people. And that whole community that basically mirrors Wakanda, like you said, in the very next scene, like leading up to his attack, like you go through the marketplace and all of that. It's they did a good job at making that something that you could equally care about. It's not just like, here's a bad guy and he's crazy. No, he's just protective of his
doing
people.
What he thinks is right.
Exactly. And he's not necessarily wrong, because like as they show in the beginning, is like these other governments are just going to try and sneak in one way or another at whatever cost to try and take this stuff. So yeah. And also terrifying too, the fact that they can hypnotize people through song.
Yes.
I really like that. That was intense.
That was nice. That was such a
that was unexpected.
That was unexpected. So I was able to just go on this ride and be like, where are we going? What is happening? All that like curiosity was stemming out, which is really great. And
the underwater sequence where the divers are finding
it felt like a horror movie there.
Yeah, that was creepy. I was just like, oh shit, what's gonna happen?
And Lake Bell, I love Lake Bell, and she just popped up in this movie. I was like, "Oh, great! She's going to be in the MCU." She's gone.
Psych. Yeah. Dude, I at the end of the movie, that was one of the things that popped back into my mind when I was on my way home. I was like, "Now wait a second, what happened to her?" You know what I mean? Like, they can maybe do that MCU thing where she comes back for whatever reason later, but it's just like, dude, she looked like a goner.
Davy Jones Locker. She, I completely forgot she was even in it.
Nice, Ed.
But
nice.
And then that bridge scene too.
Loved it
against Okoye. That
so
was
good.
such a
dude.
They did such a good job. Like you actually, despite losing Chadwick, you knew that was going to be kind of like the biggest thing hanging over this movie. But you kind of doubted that they would, like going into it, you kind of doubted that they would actually kill anybody else.
She was trying to kill them. Like you see her killing them, and she's like, they should be dead, and they did it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, sorry, I mean like any of the main characters.
Oh, okay.
But throughout that fight, you definitely thought she was in danger for a minute.
Okoye was gonna die.
Like she was gonna eat it right there.
They do a good job of like making the enemy feel so like powerful, and threatening. They did a good job of making them feel so threatening every time they came on scene. I was like, God, how are they going to stop them? How are they going to do that?
Yeah.
You're right. In that scene, you're like, oh my God, is she going to die? How can you take down
like she
Namor?
got lucky. They let her live.
They let her live. Yeah. All these moments of like these, it seems impossible to beat them. Like there's so many of them. They have all this technology too, like those water bombs. They're so strong. Wakanda's like a kind place. People are just in the market. Like they're not even warriors as much as they are. They're like huge mutants that don't die. Namor's like impossible to kill. Like, how can you take them down? And they did such a good job of setting up that threat level.
I will say, as if you had told me, oh yeah, they've got these little water bombs, I would have been like, that sounds lame as hell.
When they
But it
brought
was
all those
so
water bombs, though,
cool.
you were like,
Dude,
"Fuck,
no,
they're
I
fucked."
I said the same thing. I was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, that's
And
what. Oh no!
The couple of times, man, I don't know why I was so shocked by this, but every time they showed up on the whale, I was like, "That's the dopest thing I've ever seen." Especially the first one, like in the trailer, you see them on like the humpback whale or whatever, and you're like, "Okay, yeah, that makes sense. He's a big boy." But then at the bridge scene, they like
It's like a killer whale.
they free willy into that bitch, and you're like, "Whoa, dude!" I don't know why. Like,
and then you have killer whales catapulting them up the ship.
Yes, yes, dude.
You're
I
just
was
like, all right, you're
okay.
using your your surroundings. That's
Go
great.
ahead. Oh, and if we're talking about the bridge scene, the chase, everything, the going to the college, the university to get Riri Williams, I really loved that whole chunk of film. Like I thought Okoye,
You needed a light moment to really lift things up after it being so down and dark. Yeah.
Yes. First off, Okoye and Shuri looked so fucking cool. All right, when they were just like standing there next to the car, like waiting, they're like, "Oh, that's Riri Williams," you know, when they were having that discovery. And I was just like, "You guys look like from a fucking magazine. How cool you guys look." You know what I mean? And then the back and forth in the dorm room. You know,
she throws like the toaster at her,
thing, and you're like, don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just the back and forth in the garage, and then Okoye is treating Shuri kind of like a little girl, or like not a little girl, but you know what I mean? Like she's kind of chastising her and telling her, you know, like, this is the field. We're not in your lab. Like, you listen to me kind of deal. And right before she gets in the car, she ends up getting on the bike instead. And you're like,
yeah,
that's my queen, Shuri. All right, I see you. You know what I mean? Dude, it was
but then
just,
she gets
like
caught
threatening the AI in the car.
Yes.
She's what M'Baku calls him the you bald-headed demon.
yes.
At the beginning, like that was so funny.
Cracked up.
Everyone was dying. But yeah, she's awesome. I gotta say, I just felt like I needed some more resolution for her character towards the end. Okoye, I mean, like between her and Shuri, like Shuri never addressed that. They never addressed that she was discharged again at the end.
It seems like they've left it open-ended a little bit, maybe on purpose, where she's just, she's not the general anymore, right?
But I just this were in a lot of ways this movie. I don't know. I mean, maybe it was just my need of healing. Like everybody who was suffering in this movie needed to have like a good ending. You know, like remain happy, or just like find that happy place after, you know, sorrow and sadness, you know, and having just been dealt a blow by Angela Bassett's character, you know, like we see in the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, this is her life. Like she sacrificed her husband for the Wakandan throne. So I don't know. I mean, I just I felt like that just got cut short a little bit. I wanted Shuri to be like, you know, it's okay or whatever. Like, I don't know. That's what I need as an audience member.
I see what you're saying.
But of course, I want to see way more of Okoye, and if she's about to have like her own separate shit, great.
I do have two things I want to talk about. I don't want to, because I kind of jumped out, so I don't know what we were mentioning.
I just finished my thoughts on Okoye kind of getting some resolution at the end.
Got it. I think we should talk about the Black Panther in the room. Shuri, you guys.
Yes.
She's Black Panther
right.
now.
Hooray! You kind of get the gist pretty early on that she was going to take the mantle. That was fine. I'm okay with that. But I'm glad they didn't spoil it.
I was kind of like, oh, maybe they're gonna because all I kept thinking was how obviously the actress Letitia Wright was like anti-vax, and there was all this talk of like, oh, we're not getting all these scenes filmed, and we're gonna have to beef up other actors' scenes. So I was like, okay, are they gonna like surprise us halfway through and give us the COVID cut or whatever? But no, dude. When Shuri got it, she took that heart-shaped herb, that synthesized one.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, here we are. We're going into it. couple of surprises in that moment also. Were you guys expecting who she was visited by in the
Yes, good call, dude.
in the realm or whatever they call that?
I didn't think about it until it happened. I thought I was like, are they going to do? I was still like, oh my god, they're going to try to do T'Challa still in some weird way, like 3D.
Well, it was going to be Angela Bassett. Honestly.
That's right. Yeah. But she never took the herb, so she couldn't be part of that like ancestral plane.
True.
You know?
Oh, I didn't even know that was a rule.
And so,
I had that not fully spoiled for me. I had no idea who it was, but someone on Twitter screenshot that part of the trailer where she's standing in that room and it's on fire.
Yeah.
And all they said was they did a really good job not telling us who was there with her. And I was like, oh, she's visiting. This is, most likely in the ancestral plane or whatever. And I was like, in retrospect, it does make sense. It's like, okay, the only person that like set that room on fire was Killmonger.
Yeah.
So it would make sense that it was him that they were cutting out of that trailer or whatever.
What a performance! So what a surprise to see him to pop in there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Dude,
no, it was a surprise.
The lady next to me, she was like, I was wondering when he was going to show up. I was like, oh, it's now. So shush, quit talking. Like we're trying to listen. And also, I thought that was just a great way to showcase like Shuri's like inner rage and anger. And when I don't know if they showed it there, if they cut to it later where she said it, but where she was talking about how like I'm not my brother, and I'm not going to be noble to Namor.
Right.
I'm going to stand over him and like watch him die. And I was just like, cool.
You feel that as they're fighting, I'm like, oh my god, she's going to kill him. You know what I mean? Like she's going to kill, and then they have this.
Or one of them is going to kill the other for sure.
Exactly,
like,
and then they have this cross montage of the two of their like experiences. Which, by the way, if people who watch Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, the editor of that show also edited. There's 3 editors. Also edited this movie, and there's a lot of montages in this movie, and she's really good at montages. Her name's Kelly Dixon. And so you could see a little bit of this like Breaking Bad, like, Better Call Saul in those little montages. But I really felt like, oh man, she's going to kill him, and then.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was reminded about, what's it called? Okay, this line here where T'Challa's kind of like throughout this whole thing, because Angela Bassett's character mentioned how like, oh, I can feel him in the wind. I feel him in the wind. And there's a lot of usage of wind in this movie, even at the end, which we'll talk about later. There was a lot of wind happening. And I was just thinking about how this carries through this line that Black Panther said in Civil War: "Vengeance has consumed you. I am done letting it consume me." And so I felt like at this moment, this is also Shuri's like T'Challa's gone, but his spirit still remains and kind of comes to aid Shuri in this moment where she's reminded. I don't know. I at least for me, it felt like there's that spirit of T'Challa there because she was able to leave her vengeance and anger that she had this connection with Killmonger and finally was able to honor her brother T'Challa by living, by that mantra.
Mm-hmm. What, Ed? Do you have any thoughts?
No, I was waiting for you. I can't see you, Luis.
You can't see me.
I didn't want to say anything.
I can see him.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why I was not trying to say something. I can hear you there, Luis. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, and speaking of montages, that last look at Chadwick when she finally settles down on the beach, that got me. That last scene got me the most, really. That was just
I was surprised. I thought they were going to do like a T'Challa and Queen Ramonda, like kind of both highlighted in that last moment because she's like burning the memorial garb or whatever
for hers.
Yeah. And so I was kind of thinking, oh, maybe we're going to see her too. But I liked the fact that, it was like solely, that was really her struggle through the whole movie. That was like the weight she was carrying the whole time.
Absolutely. It was this whole question of like how to handle grief. And like, I loved how they were brought up, even the point of, oh, I can feel him in the wind. And then she's like, no, that's just your brain creating, neural pathways to like make you feel better about yourself. Like, I think that's like a point that people feel like, and I think it was cool that they brought that up in this movie as well. It's like a valid point too. I was going to talk.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to talk about even in the like, just to say how I loved how delicate they handled everything, even to the smallest details. And I always look to the smallest details to like showcase the truth of it all. And one of the smallest details is the credits. Like after the end of the movie, it kind of has that like usually in Marvel movies it has those like big fancy credits where it's like 3D models of like the characters in like really cool positions, and like it doesn't really make any sense. It's just like cool art or like cool designs or like cool something as they put like all the actors' names and all the director and then the final name of the movie and like a cool design. Like there's no really like sense to it, you know? But in this one, that was all done in the backdrop of the burning of the wet clothes. And I thought it was still allowed room for people to mourn even as the credits were rolling. And it wasn't just as flashy images of like Black Panther in a 3D model. And then it rolled perfectly right into a continuation of a mid-credit scene. And mid-credit scenes can be like kind of, I don't know, kind of lame or a little bullshit, you know? Like there was that Ant-Man and the Wasp like post-credit scene where it's just an ant like on a drumstick beating a drum, and then that's how it ended. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't really mean anything. And this was like one of the more meaningful mid-credit scenes in Marvel. Yeah, do you guys want to talk about that?
When I talked about the scenes that made me cry, Queen Ramonda dying was one of them, the second one, and then the last one when he was just like, "I'm Prince T'Challa, son of King T'Challa."
Yeah,
I was like, God damn it. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was just the perfect way. A couple things I want to talk about in that was obviously, and I feel like everyone's kind of come to grips with it now. They're not going to recast T'Challa. You know what I mean? Like Chadwick Boseman is T'Challa, and I get that there was a movement. You know, people were really wanting that, and had all of their reasons. You know what I mean? Good or bad for why they wanted that. But I think this is the greatest way to do that without just like bringing in a multiverse character or something like that. You know what I mean? Let this kid grow up and become, you know what I mean, the T'Challa that everyone wanted to see. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of good potential there. But while we're talking about like, you know, future of these characters, I want to talk about something. I mentioned I saw this in Alamo Drafthouse, and they before the movie started, they had an interview with the writer of the movie, whose name I'm blanking on right now.
Ryan Coogler and Joe Robert Cole.
Maybe that's what it was. Anyway, he was kind of doing like a history of the comics, like the different writers that have written for the Black Panther comics and the different eras that he went through, and like how he started and how he ended, as to like the modern version that we know him as today. But one of the things he talked about was, I'm sure you guys know this, that in the comics, King T'Challa and Storm from the X-Men, they become like kind of king and queen of Wakanda. They get married.
Yeah.
They have like a royal wedding, and sometimes they're together and sometimes they're not, and they're obviously like in their own storylines, Black Panther, X-Men, yada yada. One of the things that I just kind of kept thinking throughout the entire time, am I still here? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I'm getting to my point. I'm setting this up.
I know. I've got a. Oh yeah, I'm just like thinking of potential things where you're going with this.
Well, shut up and I'll tell you. So, I think that in regular adaptation of the Black Panther comic, had Chadwick not passed away, you very easily could have seen them adapting that storyline. T'Challa and Storm from X-Men becoming like this power couple of Wakanda. I kind of think they may adapt that storyline with Shuri as the Black Panther and Namor as the king of Talokan, where you still get that like mutant Wakandan royal, you know what I mean, wedding matchup.
Yeah.
I think obviously there's this sense of the end of the movie. Yeah, he was the bad guy and they had their clash and she wanted him dead, right?
And he impaled her.
Sure, you know, who hasn't?
Okay. All right.
No.
I'm hanging on.
It
I'm hanging on.
might seem like a stretch, but I could see that being the way that they adapt that
Yeah.
storyline for Black Panther in the future.
Sure. I see what you mean.
If they did it with anyone and Shuri, I would kind of want it to be Namor. Like have Namor, because you were talking earlier about how like there was so much mirrored imagery with Talokan and Wakanda and all the things and the struggles that they went through as a culture to become where they are today.
Yeah.
I could see them being great leaders together.
Sure.
Thank you for listening. That
Yeah,
was my
absolutely.
time.
I mean, the fact that he was able to like yield and know like
Mhm.
this is.
I was just.
Yeah.
I was wondering. So, Storm's name is Aurora Monroe, right? Or is that just in the movies?
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like, oh, do you? I thought where you were possibly going with that, Miguel, was that maybe
Her and Shuri would be lesbians.
No.
You dirty dog.
No,
Although
I was gonna say like, were you suggesting maybe like the kid would be that T'Challa,
Oh,
like eventually, but I guess that would be literally years.
Years.
So maybe not. But
well, I mean, it's going to be forever until we get the X-Men in the MCU anyway. So it might be, maybe it'll just like line up. They'll just do another time jump.
Exactly, a blip.
Now, listen, you guys can call me out on this later down the road when you were like, man, that was the stupidest thing Miguel ever said. But I'll tell you something.
No.
That's what I walked out of the theater in the back of my head going, I could see them doing it. I think maybe I just love Namor so much. I want to.
They're just going to keep stabbing
He's going to come
each
back.
other. And
I mean, they
it's gonna
definitely
be so
set him up
hot.
to come back and be like a hero. Do you know what I mean? Who's still like,
Yeah.
Give him his own movie.
No, I liked him a lot. I feel like it would be more interesting, and I got the impression that they were going to keep butting heads and conflict again later. Fight again later. I don't think their fight is over, was my impression of it. He's going to be a villain, but he's always going to be like a thorn in her side.
That's so well said. That's exactly what it is, and that's how he kind of is in the comics too. You know, he is like a thorn on people's side.
He's a bit of a dick, right?
Yeah.
Not that I've read any of the.
I don't think he'll lean so hard as a dick he is in the comics, but I think he'll be protective of his people at all costs and do what needs to be done when other people may not agree. You know what I mean? I like for sure him and Captain America would definitely butt heads. It's like, no, we will not sacrifice people for the good, and he's like, we will do whatever it takes to get this done. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's Namor and
more selfishly for his people, which, you know, it's not being selfish for him necessarily, but like singularly on planet Earth, I guess. He's like them before everything. Like they'll kill all of the surface people before you harm this underwater place, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. He was so powerful. I was like, you could take on the world. I don't really see how y'all are indestructible.
Tell me why in the movie, in my head, I just had a Miguel moment. Tell me why. I like when she was like capturing him or whatever in that fight, I was just like, now take him to a desert somewhere. And then that's like the next thing she says.
She's like,
take us to the desert. I was like, burn him. Fry him. I was just like, dry him out. But I was in that moment. I was more interested in their conflict than what was happening on the battleship, and I felt that was my biggest disappointment of the whole movie. But everything else, I feel like struck where it meant to. I just felt like the. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I just think it kind of got a little muddled, and the dramatic emphasis on what was going on there wasn't as good or interesting as what was going on with Shuri and Namor. And they had opportunity, like we mentioned the Midnight Angels earlier, like I wanted more about that. Like I wanted to see more of that in action, more take effect. But all of a sudden they were just cornered on the edge of the ship, and you know, it just felt hurried and uninterested in worrying about that when they were too focused on what we were all more worried about was Shuri in that moment.
It's
I don't
hard to
know,
make a
I
movie.
just-
It's hard to fit everything. I mean, 2 hours
It
and
is.
45 minutes. Do you know what I mean? It's so hard to fit all the points. I mean, yeah, I feel you. I guess for me personally, there was so much more prose to it.
Yeah, no, I
that
agree.
I was able to like
Absolutely.
kind of wash over it, and everything
Sure.
was so well performed that I was just able to like vibe out and like.
But I
it
would've
was also a
been-
simple storyline, like it wasn't too overly
Yeah.
complex, but the fact that everything was done so honestly and earnestly, I was okay
Yeah.
to go for the ride. You know,
And I know I can ring on that bell like, oh, I would have done this, I would have done that, but like, it really would have been like, it's always going to go there, but it would have been so more possibly intense and more interesting had it just come down to like Shuri challenging Namor.
single, yeah.
Yeah, because it just the rest felt so unnecessary, and that was my only downside. Because you're absolutely right, the drama, especially in that fight between Namor and Shuri, and the fight on the bridge earlier on with Okoye, like I felt the stakes. Like you genuinely thought, like, oh fuck, are we gonna see such and such die? Sorry, I just knocked my laptop. But like I felt the stakes there, but like everything that was happening on that ship in that moment, not so much. But like overall,
it was mostly
it was
like
a distraction.
that's exact. It was made to distract Namor and just get him out of there. Almost like, I mean, yeah, you know what? In some way, you could have just left that and just focused on like, hey, there's war and there's fighting happening. Fill in the blanks in your head. We're gonna focus over here for a second. Do you know what I mean? Like that. I see.
Yeah. Yeah, but but everything else and the way it ended and the way it opened, like, it hit all of those emotional beats that I wanted it to. And for that, like, I am not only grateful because there are so many ways that so many other directors could have fucked that up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It elevated.
And that's a lot of pressure, too. Not only because of, like, the Chadwick Boseman thing, but Black Panther was a massive success. You know, that's a lot of pressure. And so to all of that, like, I mean, it's a job well done. And yeah, I mean, would see again. Like, I wasn't as definitely one of the better ones we've had recently. And
Phase 4.
Yeah, which, you know.
Do you want to get into it, Ed? Do you want to rank them real quick?
All right.
Whoa. We can't rank them yet because Phase 4 technically isn't over yet. Okay. I've had a couple fights with some people saying it's Phase 4 over, but no, Phase 4 is not over yet because we still have the Phase 4 epilogue, the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, which will officially wrap up Phase 4, and Ant-Man and Quantumania will begin Phase 5. So I was going to pose the question, you know, we did our top 10 MCU movies. We should do our top Phase 4, you know, things, including
top 4 Phase 4.
Ooh, that would be very difficult. Because there's movies, there's TV shows, and then there's special presentations that are included. I don't know if I could do a top 4, but either way, what I'm saying is we're going to do a Phase 4 bonus episode where we cover all the Phase 4. We're going to wait until Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special comes out so we can get the full scope. And some people are reporting otherwise. I'm not one of those people, okay? I'm a fighter for Phase 4. So, yeah, that's just a little preview. Soon we're going to have a bonus episode. Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special comes out November 25th. So probably around December, we'll do like a little end of the year Marvel bonus episode ranking Phase 4.
Beautiful. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
All right. I guess, I mean, is that it? Are we done talking about Black Panther Wakanda Forever?
10 out of 10, you guys. Loved it. Can't wait to see it again.
I loved it too.
I would give it like an 8 out of 10.
Well,
if we're going there. Sorry.
Go fuck yourself. All right. Next, we're going to talk about what we're into. All right, everybody. Welcome back. We're talking about what we're into this week. Miguel, let's not make this long. Hit us up. What are you into? What are you doing, Ed?
Keep it brief. I was doing my World Cup dance, and let's do it. Let's go.
Oh, okay. Very nice. Check it out, youtube.com/AdPunchDrunkNerd to look at that. Miguel,
I'll tell you what I'm into, you guys. I'll keep it real light and tight, Luis. I've only been into one thing. You guys watching this show on HBO, the whole White Lotus?
No, but I should.
On to you, Luis.
Oh, you mean White Lotus, the show that was supposed to be a limited series that won multiple Emmys as limited series, but now is not a limited series and has a season 2? That White
they were
Lotus?
It's fucking
They were
liars.
like, bring it back. I can't remember. Did I talk about this last
You
week?
did, but I'd love to
I
hear
hope I
an update.
Okay, my bad, y'all.
No, it's good.
Yeah, so three episodes are out right now. I don't think the fourth one.
Wait,
I might be
really?
wrong.
That's good. I could potentially catch up, but I won't.
I get
Psych.
it. I get it. No, you got to be real. You got to be realistic. No, we're having a good time. Kristen, she keeps acting like I'm not engaged with it or something because you guys know me. I like to play on my phone,
Yeah.
and she'll be like, "You're not even watching it with me," and I'll be
Thank
like,
you.
"I can tell you." She even tried to get me. She tried to have like a gotcha moment. She was like, "Tell me what's happening right now," and I was like, "Oh, okay,
Good
well,
for her.
sit down."
Yeah,
so
it's really
excited.
good for
I was
her.
able, but no, fuck her because I was able to do it. I was able to tell her exactly
See,
beat for beat what was going on with every character on the show.
This is why I like to go to theaters because you can't pull your phone out. It's like
Yeah.
you are
Not
stuck,
allowed.
brother. Except you go to the
No, I'll do
bathroom
it
too,
in
so you're like,
theater
I don't
all
give a
day.
fuck. You're going to the bathroom.
I don't give a fuck. I'll get on my phone. I'll have full on phone calls. You know what I mean?
You would not. You would not.
I'll be like, my accountant will call me. I'll be like, you want to talk about taxes right now?
The White Lotus
No,
is
I'm just
good.
joking.
It's 3 episodes in.
No, sorry. Yeah, White Lotus, a lot of fun. You guys, I can't remember because I'm drunk most of the time. Did y'all watch White Lotus season 1?
No.
I've only seen like bits of it. I think I saw the finale and then I didn't see much of it else because Sarah watched it.
I think you guys would really.
It looks fun.
I think you guys would really like
Yeah.
the show. I remember complaining about it the first time I watched the first season because not so much complaining, but I just like it gave me like an icky feeling, and I really thought, in retrospect, like that was like a sign that the show was good. Like
Right.
it was doing what it was
So-
supposed to do. Like it like kind of created this like weird, awkward tension.
I feel,
Just like
I
you
feel
like.
icky, but I like it.
I do feel icky. Tell me more.
So okay, I'll ask this: is the format? I don't want to spoil too much, but is the format of White Lotus
Okay.
season 2 the same as White Lotus season 1? Like
Um,
you know, for episode
there's
1,
certain
they kind of
similar
reveal
themes.
what it is, what's happening, right? In season 1.
No. Okay, so in season 2, so the thing you can take away from season 1 and season 2 is kind of like there's like a mystery of someone died.
Okay, so
You know
there
what I
is
mean?
somebody that dies in
And-
this one too.
And in the first episode, the very first scene of the first episode is like a flash forward where one of the characters finds a dead body, but you don't really see the body itself.
So
So you don't know who it is.
this happens in
You only
season
know
1.
that
Does this happen in
character.
season 2 as well? Again?
Yes, yeah, that's what I was
Okay,
saying.
okay.
In season 2, that's how it opens.
okay.
Yeah. And so in season 1, I forgot, season 1 does open that way as well. So there is a character that you know is not dead. One specific character throughout the whole cast. You're like, okay, they're for sure not the dead one. But then you don't know who dies.
Right.
And so I was thinking someone died, and that was like early on in season White Lotus, but no, that's actually at the end that happens. So there is kind of a similarity in structure. The person has not died yet, and you don't know who it is. Although I've got my guesses. You know what I mean?
I don't know if I like that. I feel like it's just repeating the same thing that they did last season.
Hey,
That girl-
you know what? I tell you
That
what,
girl's like,
I
didn't
get-
this
I get
happen
that.
last time I was here?
Welcome to the White Lotus. Right?
But it's a different White
Yeah.
Lotus, and that's the kind of fun
It's
of
a
it.
chain.
It's like it's a different. It was in Hawaii last time. It's in Italy. I
It's
think
like
this
the
time.
best
yeah, Italy.
Marigold Hotel, and then they open another one in the sequel.
The what?
Exactly.
The great exotic best
I don't know what that is.
Marigold Hotel with all the
No
old
one,
people.
No one knows what that is.
Ed, you're the only one that saw that.
I
movie.
never saw
We're
it.
not gonna
I
speak.
did not saw it.
We're not gonna-
I turned it off.
Good for you. Well, I don't want to. Now I feel like I'm underselling it, and that's okay.
Sounds like God.
Yeah, I
No, it's
hope
a
to
great
undersell
stellar
it.
cast. I know that, and it's like from what I saw season 1, season 2 would be amazing too.
You know,
I said I would catch
it's one
up
of
with
those-
it after I saw Triangle of Sadness. I was like, yeah, it probably is a
it's
show
one
for
of
me.
those. I felt like season 1 did a really good job about like every actor was like beautifully cast in this ensemble. Like their characters all kind of suited each other in a way, shape, or form. And I feel like they're nailing that again in this season.
That's
Like
cool.
every character is interesting in their own way, even when they're really shitty. You're like, oh, what's this like interesting shitty thing you're doing? Shout out Aubrey Plaza is one of my favorites in the show thus far. Surprise, surprise to no one.
Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da.
And no, I'm only 3 episodes in, so I'm looking forward to the end of it. I think I do want to go back and watch White Lotus. Ed, I sent you a tweet the other day where someone said Conroy, is that his name? Conroy from Succession. Yeah. Him and his theater
his wife, his prostitute wife,
his whore wife. that they should go to the White Lotus. And I was crossover. Like, yeah, if they wanted to dude, that's a crossover I absolutely would watch.
I would hop on of that. It's like they're like low-key some of like everybody's favorite characters.
And they would fit beautifully into the White Lotus cast, not necessarily the other way around. Right. You know what I mean? Or other Succession cast members would be too much in this show, sure. But they would fit. They would fit nicely. Man, I said I wasn't going to go long. Super sorry. White Lotus season 2. I'll keep you guys updated. This is my new Mad Men. I'm going to talk about it every single week. Not next week because of Thanksgiving.
I still look forward to the day you finish Rings of Power.
I've done that.
Did you finish it?
Yeah.
You're so full of shit.
I didn't tell you that?
Yeah, no, you did not.
Dude, it was great. I thought we talked about this already.
Episode 7?
Yeah. I watched 6 and 7?
Yeah. 6 and 7. I watched the whole thing. I went back and watched the whole thing with Kristen. We loved it. What?
I'm on the same page as Louise. I'm suspicious.
I don't know what to say, man. We're not talking about it this episode, but it was great. I had a great time. Like I'll talk more in depth afterwards.
Okay.
You're gonna as soon as we hang up, you're gonna say, "Yeah, I didn't watch that."
I'm gonna be like, "Rings of Power, episode 6, play." No, for real. I watched it like in hand to God. Okay.
So full of shit, man. Are you done?
No, actually, I do want to talk about season 6, episode 6. What a great episode! It wasn't
even episode 6. It was episode 7 that you didn't see.
Both. It was a twofer, you son of a bitch.
It was.
All right, Ed, what are you into?
Man, we talked about that Zootopia Plus show last week.
Yeah, did you watch
We watched it. Yeah, we
watched
get into
it.
Yeah,
favorite episode?
I mean, super quick. They were less than 10 minutes each. Like 4 minutes of it is credits.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Favorite episode?
It literally just like hit all of those points that we discussed last week that we liked about Zootopia. They honed in on it, and yeah, it was funny. It was very cute, very quick. It was like 6 episodes, I think, right? So no, it was a nice afternoon of just
favorite
watching.
Episode?
Ooh,
the rat, the rodentia, the real rats.
No,
the Godfather.
I would say the Godfather one tickled me the most because
I would say
the Godfather. It's himself just cracks me up. Yeah, it was really good. A lot of fun. Yeah.
Is the bunny one the worst one, or the sloth one?
No, the sloth one was fun,
but the bunny one wasn't as fun.
I'll admit I missed part of that one because I was like making Lily's dinner or something like that. So that's the only one I did. But they did a good job of like tying everything that happened tied into the movie itself, into moments of the movie.
Oh, really?
I guess the one I liked the least was actually the cheetah one. They sign up for a dance competition, him and Chief Bogo, and which is Idris Elba's character in the movie anyway. The fat cheetah cop.
Yes, they sign up.
They try and do like So You Think You Can Dance or whatever. I think they call it So You Think You Can Prance because the antelopes.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, no. So it was fun. If you got a kid, if you don't have a kid, if you enjoyed Zootopia, you'll enjoy this show. The other thing, me and Sarah have started on The Crown season 5. We're only on episode 2 though, so I can't talk too much about it. Luis, do you watch The Crown?
I haven't seen it. No, I know it's good.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Okay.
Ed, I wanted to. We were going to talk about the trailer a few weeks back, and then we ended up cutting that. I wanted to tell you that I did watch that trailer, and it made me want to go back and watch. Maybe not all of the show, The Crown, but I did go back and watch every trailer for every season. Okay,
nicely done.
I feel like I get it. You know what I mean?
But you know what happens? You could just look at English history.
That's really what I thought when I was watching the trailer. I was like, I'm reading a book right now.
But they make it exciting because it's on the television.
I saw a clip from the show the other day where it's Matt Smith and whoever was playing the Queen that
Clef
season.
Boy.
And he's like dogging on her haircut, and he was like, "Did you want to have children with me again?" And she was like, "Yes." And he was like, "Then why did you get that haircut?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Dang, dude, I kind of want to watch this show now." We're just, like, talking
Matt
shit.
Smith was great, yeah, and that becomes his signature haircut too, ironically. So there you go, and they never did have any more children. Anyways.
Season 5, The Crown, looking good, huh?
So far so good. Just solid stuff. And then finally, Luis, it looks like we tumbled across the same movie.
We did.
Let me say, Barbarian. It's now on HBO Max. It came out earlier this summer. And before we actually get into it, and I think we're going to try and avoid spoilers for you, Miguel, because I think you should watch it.
Oh.
But all that to
Also,
say is,
spoilers
like,
for the
I went
audience.
into... And,
Also, avoid spoilers
fuck
for the audience.
We're here for each other, right? No, I'm just kidding.
That's true.
Please like and subscribe on YouTube and all other. Anyway, yeah, it was one of those movies where I hadn't seen any of the trailers. Admittedly, whenever the trailer came out, I just wrote it off as another horror movie. And then it started getting rave reviews.
Yep.
And I still ignored everything. I never watched the trailer.
I brought it up on this podcast too. I was like, the Barbarians.
Yeah.
And
I missed it. I didn't even watch it. So when I went into this, I had no expectations whatsoever, and it completely took me by surprise. I was watching it by myself on Monday night, and let me tell you, I was terrified. I was hugging the pillow, wishing that somebody was with me to at least just like get out some of my anxiety. Because like the first third of this movie is insanely tense.
It's interesting.
And then it completely subverts your expectations. There were people in this movie that I didn't know were in this movie, which helped too. And everything, just like, I expected nothing out of it, and I got so much, and it was so well done. And I couldn't recommend it enough. It was very, just like, and very brief. What's more, it ends perfectly.
Yeah, it does. As you were talking about the third, I think it has an interesting story format too.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's different, and I don't even want to talk about it too much, or even like talk about the cast too much. But it has an interesting story format, and it just pulls you in. You know, as you're
really
continuing to watch, you're just kind of like, okay, which is cool. You know,
yeah, it kind of goes along those like horror tropes. Like it builds up that dread, and you're thinking one thing the whole time, and then there are moments where, you know, it's that classic like, no, why are you going down there?
Yes,
why are you going? But they it's deliberate, but it's also like done very well.
People
like,
complain. I talked to people that complained about that, but I was like, sometimes that's like what horror movies do. Like that's part of the experience. Sometimes of like,
that's what builds suspense. Like they do things that you like to think you wouldn't do.
Yeah,
but
they did do that.
I think there's enough on screen to show that it's not just like some dumbass walking into a black corridor or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the anxiety is there and the fear is there on screen.
Moments of like
feel
just
it's like so
eye-opening,
palpable.
Like, oh no!
Yeah, you're just like no, please don't, just for your sake. It toys with you very well, and it's a lot of fun.
It's I don't even want to say it too much, but yeah, it's exactly. It's a lot of fun.
I think that's about as much as I want to say. Honestly, it was just like I like I said, I went into it completely blind. I put my phone down, and there's like one.
God damn it!
There's like one clear cut, actually, Luis, and you'll know what I'm talking about. Where it just like gets to its scariest in the first third, the first act of the movie, and it just like cuts to black, and then the tonal shift takes a dramatic change. It was right in that minute interval. Lily came out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I was just like, oh shit. I quickly paused her because I didn't know what was coming next. And I was just like I'm coming off of like just sheer terror. My heart was beating. I was like so just terrified. And Lily like came up behind me. I was like, fuck. It was just like wild. But like, yeah, it was. It was a while. I watched it at home, and I was just like,
it was
very
effective.
gripping, very. Effective,
It's an hour and 42 minutes, so it's an easy watch.
And it is like it moves along.
It does.
You guys know, I haven't seen this movie yet, but that's not going to keep me from commenting on it. Classic Sanchez.
You can't even, how can you comment? You don't even know what this movie's about.
No, he's already looked up the ending.
Hold on, baby bird. No, I don't know. I don't know anything too much about it. No, so I've mentioned previously, Luis, I'm trying to go. Ed said he went in blind. That kind of made me think about this. I've been trying to kind of follow in your footsteps, Luis, of not watching. Don't fucking yawn when I'm talking about you. God damn it. It's late for everyone.
Okay, tell me what happened. You're not watching trailers. You're doing a thing.
I'm not. Shut the fuck up. All right, so I'm not watching trailers, and I am doing the thing. Okay, god damn it. But I was on YouTube the other day. I was sitting with Kristen, and we were on YouTube, and I saw a title of a new movie called Justin Long's New Movie, and it was like Justin Long like driving this convertible, like all happy and cheery, and I was like, "What's this about?" Like I was expecting some comedy. And then halfway through that trailer, they're like, psych, this is the Barbarian trailer. And I was going to watch this movie without watching the fucking trailer.
That sucks.
They were trying to do that like when Blair Witch did that a few years ago, where they teased everyone into the theater.
Well, that's
with
a
one
bummer.
thing, and it turned out
I was trying to avoid that
Witch.
one.
Me too.
Spoiler for anybody.
Well, it's too late. They've been spoiled.
Yeah. But yeah, that was one thing. I had no idea
Justin Long's
Long was
new
in that
movie. Oh my god.
Dude, had no idea. And at the end of it, I was like, oh, this is fucking Barbarian. Yeah. Oh, okay. Like, that makes sense.
Man.
They got me.
See it.
But I don't really remember much about it being super. I mean, it was just like Justin Long, scary house, horror movie, Barbarian. You know what I mean? And you're like, oh, okay, what's this about? And I was going to say that I do one of my earliest like horror movies that I like remember watching on my own was Jeepers Creepers with Justin Long, and how that kind of seems to like fit perfectly with his genre. You know what I mean? These like quiet horror movies. Well, I don't know if it was quiet, but you know what I mean? Like, a little more subdued or whatever. And it makes sense that he would do this. Are you watching that trailer right now?
As it's playing it, it's saying from the studio that brought you Alvin and the Chipmunks. And the director of The Whitest Kids You Know.
That's hilarious. Oh, man. Well, that's a bummer.
You guys thought I wasn't going to have anything
producer
to
of the
add.
Lego movie. Like, it's just...
Dude.
It definitely... but you know what? Even knowing that, it still manages to subvert your expectations.
I'm sure it does. You guys talked very highly. And I loved how you guys didn't spoil too much. It seemed like you guys... almost like not wanting to like not caring about Miguel caring about spoilers, but like, no, this is so good, I don't want to spoil
regardless.
Like that.
That's a good watch for you and Kristen, maybe.
Well, I was thinking we're going away for Thanksgiving, doing like a small little family trip, and we got a hotel, and I'm thinking, maybe we could do like fun movies every. No, and I'll tell you off record why we did this, but
that's really more of a
reference.
Expensive. No, that was more of a reference to the movie. Oh, sorry.
Oh, see, I didn't catch that. I didn't know. Anyway, I thought it would be fun. Maybe this would be like one of those fun movies that we want to do like a scary.
Yeah, do it.
Perfect.
When the kid's asleep.
Yeah, great. Barbarian, check it out.
All right. Luis, what you been into?
Yeah,
man?
so I've been into. I saw. I remember last week, and I was like, I'm gonna watch a movie right away. That was the movie I watched, Barbarian.
Oh yeah.
Did
Sarah watch it with you real quick?
No, she was out of the house, so I got to watch a movie.
There you go.
What else? I've been keeping up with Andor. Great stuff, and Andy Serkis is amazing. We'll continue to talk about that. What else? I've been toying around some more shows, but I don't want to talk about it now. I will talk about, just to wrap this up, Paul Dano is writing a comic book. We talked about it earlier, but I read it.
Yeah.
It's called Riddler Year One. You've heard of Batman Year One, how he kind of has his beginnings. And this one, it's the beginning of Riddler, specifically the one in the Batman. And just a brief overview. It's just, you see him as a super smart guy who's working at a lawyer firm as an accountant. But he has like a ton of negative thoughts about himself, and he's trying to do all this self-help and get him through that. But he's kind of like a pushover at this like very bro-y law firm accountant place, and no one takes his skills seriously, even though he's doing all the work. And the only place he feels safe is online, which is kind of like, you see that in the Batman. And he just feels like everyone's shitting on him. Gotham's a place where everyone's getting shit on. No, there's no hope for him. The city kind of like resembles his personal life. And then he sees Batman, and he sees somebody doing something, and they say he's hope incarnate. Someone who can break free from this broken down system. Someone is standing up to this city. You. So, he sees Batman as someone who would say, you matter. Yeah, Riddler Year One. I think it's just, that was just issue 1, but you just get a taste of that. He's kind of having these depressive issues, and he has like really low self-esteem, and it's like really in his face. Let's see, Riddler Year One. How many issues?
Did you like it?
I did. I want to read more of it. There are 6 issues coming out. And I feel like it just like establishes, it's establishing the tone, you know?
So you hear that train, Miguel? Is that what you...
I wasn't going to say
anything. Sorry.
It establishes the tone, so I'm more curious to see how it keeps going. But I like that he's dabbling into the comics. But that's pretty much it, y'all. We did it. That's fucking it. Listen, next week we will not be having the podcast because it's Thanksgiving, y'all. The best holiday of the year, right, Ed?
Yeah.
It's Ed's least favorite holiday. So we're going to take time off so that Ed can get all his hate